All these industries are predatory. And why wouldn't they be?
They didn't want to make our deal and they snatched it. And they was like, they just did something. Weinstein's did really terrible.
So Marlon Wayans seems to have had enough of the Hollywood atrocities, and he's just spilled the piping hot tea on the biggest secret in the movie industry. According to him, the show business elites, and namely the evil Weinstein brothers, might just owe the Wayans siblings a jaw-dropping fortune of 400 millions. So you all may remember those scary movies that made us all laugh hard back in 2000s. Now, in the shocking turn of events, Marlon claims the ownership over the whole franchise, accusing Harvey Weinstein and his brother of stealing the Wayans' brainchild, and never paying them a dime for the sequels that were released without Marlon and his brother.
We probably should sue because they probably owe us a shitload of money. And maybe one day we will.
And if you are wondering, that's this sum that Marlon is talking about. Well, let's look at the box office results of Scary Movies 3, 4, and 5, because these films were released when the Wayans brothers were allegedly kicked out of the project. So it's $220 million owed from Scary Movie 3. A bit smaller, but still a jaw-dropping sum of $178 million from the fourth release. And although Scary Movie 5 wasn't that much of a success, it's still an additional $78 million that the Weinstein brothers pocketed without sharing with the people who created the whole idea of the franchise. That's a mind-blowing grand total of almost $500 million. And now, although it seems to be all water under the bridge, Marlon wants to see a fair share of these earnings.
People walked away from our franchise that we created. It was taken, and
the original Scary Movie was a family effort. The script was co-written by Marlon Wayans, Sean Wayans, and 4 others, and Keenan Ivory Wayans served as the director. Marlon and Sean also starred as Shorty and Ray respectively, and upon its release, the movie had a major success among the audience and instantly got 4 sequels. But this is where things went really dirty, and the whole Wayans family got played by Harvey Weinstein. As the sequels rolled out, the Wayans crew felt like they were left out in the cold. The Weinstein brothers, those Hollywood big shots, seemed to have other ideas for the franchise, and they used their influence and connections to steal the whole brilliant idea and build an empire on it.
We're almost new to this game, even though we've been around the whole time and our talent has been.
With the success of the first film, pressure was put on the Wayans brothers to write a successful sequel quickly. According to Marlon, that was when trouble started between him and the studio, as he wasn't ready to produce scripts without proper inspiration. As he stated in one of his interviews, what my brothers and I did was take a $19 million movie and we made it into a $500 million franchise. We got rushed to do a sequel. It still performed, but not the way we wanted it to. It wasn't as good as the first one. It was all right. Apparently, the Weinstein brothers weren't on board with such writers, since their search for inspiration and seemingly lazy attitude weren't good for business and money-making. Well, that was a big welcome to Hollywood slap for all the Wayans brothers.
I don't have those responsibilities, so I can say no to certain things and work on what I'm building.
But what comes really shocking here, guys, is that Wayans learned they wouldn't be doing Scary Movie 3 the way most people did. He read it in newspapers, which kinda was a shocking discovery for Marlon and his family, but they haven't thought of acting before because they were afraid of the Weinstein's power and influence.
So I think if we're gonna do something about it, right now is the best time to own as much of your material as possible.
However, it seems like the world is familiar with a completely another side of things, and even many celebs were sure that it was the Wayans' decisions to stop making the Scary Movies. Once in an interview with Marlon, Kevin Hart mentioned, "I remember when the Scary Movie, when you guys made the decision to not do it. You didn't want to go back, and it was a thing." And apparently, this was the moment when Marlon realized how the Weinsteins played him and his family big time with stealing the brilliant idea and cutting them off of the potential income. The recent revelations created a lot of buzz on the internet, and the movie franchise fans can't help but chime in the drama. As one person commented, they should most definitely sue instead of complaining on talk shows. Actions speak louder than words. And another user added, they probably feel that if they sue, they will never work again. Well, who would have thought of going against the powerful figures like Bob and Harvey Weinstein back then? This family basically owned the movie industry, and it was kinda unwise to initiate any steps. However, with recent scandals that earned Harvey Weinstein one-way ticket to jail, it seems like the Weinstein empire is crumbling, and this is exactly when Marlon decided it's time for more justice.
Villages, that's just the way they did their business. So it wasn't that we never walked away.
Marlon Wayans was not happy to see the sequels coming out and dropped the truth bomb, stating that the audience was not fooled by poor production. You can take the franchise we created, but you can't take the talent and jokes behind it. You can only fool audiences, but for so long, and for so long. The audiences have been fooled. They got fooled on Scary Movie 3, and they got fooled on Scary Movie 4. However, the fifth installment didn't get the same success as the sudden exit of the Wayans brothers from the Scary Movie series became obvious and left its mark. After Marlon's revelations, it also raised eyebrows about creative control, ownership, and the hurdles artists face in the cutthroat world of Hollywood.
More money, and we got so mistreated by them in the past that we was like, you know what, I'll take less money to have a better experience.
Now, Marlon Wayans seems to think like it's time for the industry to pay back everything they owe them, and it should start with taking down the horrible empire of people like Harvey Weinstein. He further mentioned the Weinsteins are not the best or the kindest people to be in business with. They're very much an evil regime, I guess. They do what they want to do, how they do it, and it can be rude and quite disrespectful. To make matters even more ludicrous, Marlon Wayans exposes how exactly he was slapped with the news of Weinstein Empire stealing his movie idea. Apparently, it happened right during the sacred time, on Christmas's Eve, and that only proves what a pure evil these Weinstein clan is.
Scary Movie 3.
Oh, and they stole it, really stole it.
Stole it. And me and my brothers was like, choke on it.
According to Marlon back then, they opted not to take legal action, which he now admits he regrets. Apparently, the Wayans didn't believe in the immediate success of the project without them, but in fact, the audience was fooled during the third and fourth installments of the series, bringing more cash to the Weinsteins. However, after that, all the predictions came true, and Scary Movie 5 was basically a failure.
Sorry, take that. Take that, because all you're going to do is ruin your franchise, which is what they did.
But now, with the Weinstein Company losing its power in the industry, the Wayans want to push this case further, and they aren't about to just roll over and accept defeat. They're thinking about taking those Weinsteins to court and drag this case until they get every single penny. Marlon hinted at the possibility of a legal battle, saying, we probably should sue for hundreds of millions of dollars because they probably owe us a whole lot of money, and maybe one day we will. But we didn't walk away from our franchise. Them guys took it. Now, here's where it gets real juicy. Fate has a funny way of playing its cards because the Weinstein Company, you know, the whole multimedia distribution and production shebang, didn't exactly stand the test of time.
Only when it's financially or politically expedient does Hollywood rally against the depraved behaviors of its own.
It all came crashing down in March 2018 when the company had to declare bankruptcy. It was teetering on the brink because of the charges held against Harvey Weinstein. Remember those handcuffs and that infamous perp walk? Yeah, it was quite the spectacle. Lantern Entertainment swooped in and took all the rights to the Weinstein Company films, leaving Harvey and Bob Weinstein out in the cold. The money they made from this whole ordeal went towards settling legal fees, covering bankruptcy expenses, and paying off debts. Any leftover crumbs were meant to go to unsecured creditors and victims of Harvey's horrific activities. And guess what? Even being accused from left and right for stealing movies and mistreating people, Harvey still believed he was a victim here.
He was confused by the whole situation, and he was deeply worried for the country over how they treat men in power.
Oh, okay.
Well, we are all crossing our fingers and hoping that one day Hollywood will finally do right by all real victims and everyone else who's been used and deceived by these elites and merciless business moguls. After all, the Wayans deserve every penny of those financial gains that were swiped by the Weinstein Company. It's time for some financial justice up in here, and fans express their negativity towards the evil figures. As one person commented, crazy to see which group of people's family name is slandered bees, the family that not. These people are who they are, evil and demonic. And another user added, Harvey is right where he belongs, in prison. I hope he never comes out. Well, it's a big drama here, and the stakes are high. So, I have a question for you guys. Do you think that Wayans brothers should sue the Weinstein clan and chase this money? Or would it be like tilting at windmills? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to check my other videos